last time out, things unfortunately did not go to plan. But Buddy crosses the line, it just was not his day today, was it? So Buddy finishes in P14. It just really, as I said, it just really was not his day. And it wasn't just that he had to deal with. After the race, he had to put up with the anger of his father.
What is that? Right, no F1 allowed for you. What are you doing here? What the heck? That was my girlfriend's TV! What are you doing? What is wrong with you? You get out or I'm calling the police. Yeah, don't do that.
Buddy was in massive shock after the incident, but he then had to hear something that he really did not want to hear. Hello, Buddy.
Hi.
I want to ask, how have you been since your dad did that?
Been okay.
I need to talk to you, Buddy. Something really important.
Okay.
I want to say, I'm really uncomfortable with having you live here. Not because of you, you're doing nothing wrong. But it gets me involved with your dad. I mean, look what he did.
But where else can I go?
What I'm saying is, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. He came and smashed a window. I know him. He will come again. And who knows what he could do. Maybe in around 6 months when my daughter is probably going to move out, you can get your own place with her. But you're going to have to stand up to your dad if that is the only place you can go. I mean, I really do not want to do this. I mean, you've done nothing wrong. But look what you did.
It is. No one's going to want to house me after that disgraceful episode.
I will allow you to stay this week, but after Silverstone race, you're going to have to pack up your stuff and go. By the way, your mum told me to pass this on to you.
Ooh. Need to see this.
But are you still doing well?
Yes, I'm doing fine. And I understand your decision.
Okay, I'll see you later. We've got to head
Bye.
to Silverstone soon.
I have to stand up to my dad again. Let's have a look at this letter.
This was a massive blow to him, but he wasn't too fazed that weekend, as it was the week of his home Grand Prix, and he had this letter from his mother to give him motivation ahead of the British Grand Prix. All those years ago, his mum introduced him to Formula 1 by taking him to the British Grand Prix. Now, he was about to participate in that very event himself. So, it was the race that Buddy had been looking forward to most. It was the British Grand Prix. Unusually for the UK, it was expected to be a completely sunny weekend, which is pretty unheard of for the British Grand Prix, seeing as that is the race that's most prone to rain. Now, Renault have actually brought some updates to this race. They have actually brought some updates to the car when it comes to the downforce with the front wing and the rear wing. They tried to put on a new under tray, but it wasn't going to work. But as mentioned before, it's likely that Buddy's going to have to take some penalties. At the moment, the tactful thinking is he's going to take it in Monza, where you can easily overtake and have a power advantage. But, without further ado, it was time for the qualifying report. The crowds were out in force, and usually for Silverstone, the sun was shining, as qualifying for the British Grand Prix was about to get underway. Sauber once again were slowest of the qualifiers. With it being a power sensitive track, it was always going to be a struggle for McLaren to do any higher than 16th and 17th. Danny Kvyat outqualified his teammate once again, whilst Kevin Magnussen starts at the back of the grid due to a penalty. Felipe Massa just scrapes the top 10, whilst Buddy Simpson was delighted to qualify at 7th at his home Grand Prix. Force India once again qualified solidly, whilst the two Red Bulls once again locked out the third row. Ferrari locked out the second row, with Vettel leading Raikkonen, whilst it was Lewis Hamilton who took pole once again for Mercedes at his home Grand Prix. So, taking a look at the grid for round 10 at the halfway point of the season, and it's Lewis Hamilton who takes pole at his home track, ahead of Bottas who rounds out a Mercedes front row. The two Ferraris lock out the second row with Vettel in third ahead of Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Simpson, Ocon, Perez with Massa rounding at the top 10. Hulkenberg starts 11th ahead of Grosjean, Kvyat, Sainz, Stroll, Alonso, Van Dorn, Verline, Ericsson, whilst at the back of the grid it is Kevin Magnussen with the grid penalty.
With me today is a man who's no stranger to the thrills of Silverstone. He's a past winner here in sports cars, of course. It's our good friend Anthony Davidson. You seem particularly excited for this one, Ant. Is there something you want to tell me?
Oh, just looking forward to it, Crofty. It's always a very special atmosphere, and also I started karting in the late 1980s, and I was here for that epic race in 1986 with Mansell and Piquet fighting each other right here at my home Grand Prix. So coming back to Silverstone always means a lot, and looking at the crowd today, it's clear that none of that spirit has been lost. And also, we just have such a fantastic field this year, some very close competition and conditions that should make for some great racing. I can't wait.
So, here everybody is on the formation lap here at Silverstone, starting in P7, and as mentioned throughout this video, this is a big moment for him. I mean, because all those years ago, his mum took him to see the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and now here he is, about to take part in it himself. But he's got no time to think of that now, as he's on the formation lap, because he's got so many settings. As you can see, he's starting on the super soft tyre, but at his home race he desperately wants to give his fans in the UK a good result to celebrate. So as you can see, they are all lining up on the grid. So, Buddy hits his box. He's now got the weight for the rest of the field to line up.
The rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient.
He's ahead of the two Force Indians, and they're expected to be quite fast with the Mercedes engine on quite a power-sensitive track. As you can see, we have the lights in Silverstone. Lights out, the way we go. Buddy gets a reasonable run, but he actually shifts up a little bit too quickly, and that gives him a tank slapper. And he has lost a few positions. As you can see, he's getting squeezed out there. He's down into P12. He's trying to get in between. And there's Carlos Sainz getting up the inside. He's going to try to get back through, trying to get down the inside of Danny Kvyat, but he's not quite managed to make it stick. He's ahead of Carlos Sainz though. But what actually happened there was he shifted up a little bit too much. But as you can see, here he is going down the inside of Danny Kvyat heading into Brooklands, and he has made that move stick. What happened at the start? He shifted up too much, and then that just gave him a tank slapper and just a massive amount of wheel spin. And that was really not what he needed.
We were looking for, but it's not over yet. Stay focused.
Sorry guys, I that up. But for the next few laps, Buddy actually had to do some fuel saving at the start of the race, whilst he was being held up by a whole train of cars that were actually being held up by the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. As you can see, we've got Danny Kvyat right behind us. Because we're stuck behind Grosjean and struggling in the dirty air, we cannot get away from Kvyat. As you can see, they're all backing up ahead, and we are going to try to take advantage of this. And we have managed to get past Grosjean, but not quite able to get past Ocon. So we are stuck behind the Force India of Esteban Ocon now, still having to go into the lean mix. But we are being held up here, and as you can see, Danny Kvyat's going to try it up the inside. We're going to try to hang it out, but there's a little bit of contact, and we are forced off the track. We track extend a little bit, and we actually then have to slow down to let Kvyat through, and we had to be careful not to let Carlos Sainz through. And Buddy was not happy about that. Why do I have to give the position back to keep hitting? It's ridiculous. And this is actually going to make us susceptible to attack from Carlos Sainz. as you can see, we are ahead going into the corner. But as you can see, we actually have to back off a little bit due to everyone backing up ahead. And as you can see, Carlos Sainz is trying it round our outside. We're side by side into club, and he has actually made that move stick. So we lose another position, which really is not what we need. But as you can see, they're backing up ahead again. That's Max Verstappen, who for some reason is going really slowly. He seems to have an issue, and we are able to pass them both down into village. So we are in P9. We really have had an action-packed start to the race, but we were struggling because we were having to fuel save. We were struggling quite a lot. As you can see, Carlos Sainz gets alongside, and he has made that move stick. We are going to try to get him back, heading into Maggots and Beckett, but unfortunately the gap is going to close. So we have lost that position. So the plan for the strategy was we were starting on the super soft, obviously, before we were going to change to the soft tyre and then change back to the super soft. But I think we may have pushed the super soft too long to go till lap 17. As you can see, we were falling behind Carlos Sainz, who was on the soft tyre, and Hulkenberg was right behind, and we obviously pushed our tyres quite a lot, being in all that dirty air, which overstressed our tyres. But well, as you can see, the left front is on 79%, so it was looking like it could explode at any moment. Now, heading into the pits for the first time for a set of the softs, making sure that we switch on the pit limiter so we don't get a penalty. But it is a very slow pit lane. But at this point, to be honest, we weren't too confident because there were many cars behind who were on newer tyres, whilst we were dithering around on these completely worn super softs who are likely to jump us. We end up behind many cars that we were ahead of before all the pit stops started, so we really stay out too long, and we exit the pits in P15, obviously higher than that in the order when all the strategies play out. But as you can see, we are out behind Lance Stroll, who has actually already pitted. He pitted very early on, I believe, but it wasn't too tricky to dispatch off him because we were able to make the move into Stowe, so it wasn't hard to retake that position. As you can see on the mini-map, Nico Hulkenberg, who was behind us, is in the pits, and we did spend a lap behind Lance Stroll, and as you can see, that lap stuck behind Lance Stroll proved costly, as he just managed to rejoin ahead of us. Now moving on to lap 20, as you can see, we've got Romain Grosjean exiting the pit, but we're going to switch to the inside, heading into village, and that was a great move there from Buddy Simpson, one of his best overtakes. As you can see, looking at the replay, Grosjean exiting the pits, and then Buddy just switched straight to the inside, and his team were very impressed with that.
Excellent jump, Buddy.
He would actually gain back the position on his teammate because his teammate had some sort of car problem. Not sure what the issue was with him, but he was losing pace. As you can see, Buddy's able to just draft past. Obviously, Hulkenberg wasn't going to pick up a fight because he's Buddy's teammate. So now moving on to lap 34, as you can see, we have blue flags for Sebastian Vettel, and we are going to let him go at Luffield because that's the time that will cost us. But as you can see, Vettel suddenly stopped on the racing line, and we tapped the back of him, and we lost part of our wing. And as you can see, as we head into Copse Corner, we are understeering.
How's the damage, Buddy?
It's Honestly, if that's the thanks I get for responding to blue flag, you completely brake tested me. I could do absolutely nothing. As you can see, Buddy really is not happy, and rightly so. It's not too bad for his race because he can actually pit, but this really disrupts his strategy because this means he cannot go to the super soft and end the race on that tire. He has to go to the soft tire, as the super soft will not make the end. So as you can see, Buddy heads into the pits, so he brakes for the limiter, but as you can see, he didn't do it in time, and he's got a stop-go penalty. A 5-second stop-go penalty. He did slow down a lot, but the pit lane speed limiter is so low here that he misjudged it. As you can see, into the pits, can't serve the penalty in this stop because he's just received it. As you can see, the wing is being changed. He gets going. He is rejoining in P12 behind his teammate Nico Hulkenberg.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Who obviously is still battling with those car problems that he had. Who, unsurprisingly, it would not take long to clear, as you can see, heading into village. We're able to just send one up the inside. He puts up no fight whatsoever, and we take P11. For a while it was looking like that's what we were nailed on for. As you can see, there's yellow flags ahead, and actually Magnussen and Sainz have collided to promote us into the points into P9, which is where we would remain on the road. But Nico Hulkenberg picked up the pace again, so obviously his car issues were fixed, and he was able to get within that buffer to ensure that our penalty is going to drop us behind our teammate. So, a very average race, but to be honest, Buddy is very lucky that he even takes 1 point out of this. So he rounds the final corner to finish in P9 on the road that is going to become P10 once all the penalties are applied. So not really what he was hoping for at his home race, to be honest. As you can see, looking at the result, Buddy Simpson in P10. For some reason it's saying X2 penalties, but we only got 1, and even a second penalty wouldn't have affected our result. So P10 for Buddy Simpson in the end at this race. But he actually crucially bounces back into the points after a very difficult past couple of races. As you can see, it's a Ferrari who wins the race, Sebastian Vettel, who is the race winner at Silverstone. As you can see him celebrating right now. So, a reasonable race in the end in terms of points. You can see Buddy seems quite happy, but I think he's just waving to the crowd, his home crowd. Obviously, he's grown up around the IndyCar paddock, but this is still his home crowd, as the UK is his nationality. As you can see, Vettel is celebrating onto the podium, but after an average race for Buddy, it was going to be very interesting to see how Buddy was going to fare in Hungary. Between then, however, he has to return home and stand up to his father.